Hey YouTube land, I'm just back doing another action figure review. Now this time I'm doing a review on some of the exclusive figures from the G.I. Joe Classified range. It took me a long while to pick up these figures. Some of them I paid fairly substantial over retail price for, some of them I didn't. So today I'm taking a look at Classified 28, Roadblock, it's the Amazon exclusive. Classified 22, the Cobra Island Viper, which is a Target exclusive. And Classified number 10, Beachhead, again, another Target Cobra Island exclusive. So, before I get on to the figures, I'm just going to move them aside and we'll just have a quick look at the boxes. The Cobra Island ones are pretty much the same. I think, well, they're all pretty much the same. The only differences is the packaging on the Cobra side have red instead of blue for the Joes. So this is Wayne Sneden Beachhead. You have an artwork of the character on the right hand side. You have a image of the character sporting his weird Nerf gun type thing. You have the Cobra Island thing on the back with the different locations. It looks like a communications setup and an airstrip. And then you just got legalese stuff and barcodes and stuff on the bottom. Pretty much similar stuff set up for the Cobra one, except instead of blue, he has the red background with the Cobra logo. Images of more Vipers on the side. On this one, it has different locations. So you have what looks like another like crane or power station. Looks like a power station, and some sort of other section of the airport or the or the runway on Cobra Island. And you have their, I think, if you go on the website, there's a website that you can check all these things out there, like the data cards of the old G.I. Joes. So you have, I think, like infantry, ammunition, hand-to-hand combat, and maybe night ops or special ops kind of thing. And then on to Roadblocks, you have an awesome image of the Roadblock figure. Now this is the third Roadblock in the wave. Had they just released this one straight from the get-go, I think none of the other ones would have been bought. Especially the Target exclusive Cobra Island one, which I don't have. I'm not too bothered to get, but he does look better than the first version of Roadblock. Technically it's the fourth version because there was a redeco of the first one, but on the back of this one you have the kind of standardized Cobra, G.I. Joe Cobra image. So out of all the characters on the back here, the only guys that I know that haven't really been released is the Alley Vipers up the very top. So you have like Cobra Commander, Baroness, Destro, Zartan, Flint, Lady J, Gung Ho, Roadblock, which ironically they used the first version image of, Scarlet, Beachhead, Duke, the Red Ninjas, the Vipers, Fireflies in the corner. In some of the trouble bubbles, you actually see the Cobra Trooper, so they technically are in this as well. As I said, the only ones that own Major Blood is up the top. I'm not sure if you can see them. He's just up top here. The Alley Vipers are in the top here as well. They're the only ones that haven't really gotten a release. I would imagine when they do get released, they're going to be a reuse of a lot of the Viper parts with some new additional pieces. But I'll get into that in a minute. So, moving quickly along to try and keep this video short and sweet, if I can. So, Cobra Viper is called Cobra Viper. G.I. Joe Classified Series Heavy Artillery Roadblock, which is the name for him. I think the original one was just Roadblock. This is Heavy Artillery Roadblock. So, we'll go with the one with the least amount of accessories to get through first, which is Roadblock. So, if I just try and stand people up, their legs are in different poses at the moment, so they mightn't necessarily stand. So Roadblock is a fantastic looking figure. He's pretty much a stripped down version of this one. So he's still sporting the same boots, he's still sporting the same legs. The only difference is they gave him a new knee. So if I just take his gun off his hand, or out of his hand, sorry if it's off screen. So it comes with the web gear attached, which is a very nice recall back to his original web gear, like the 25th anniversary and from the design of the original figure. It comes with a helmet, which is kind of a standard military battle helmet. You can see there's like the attachment points for putting on stuff like night vision scopes and things like that, which is pretty nice. As far as I know, he's the only figure to come with a helmet. The only other figures that have like removable stuff is like Beachhead and Flint, who have removable berets, and Zartan has a removable hood. You can fit the helmet onto the other version of Roadblock, and if you want to, because I have Duke here as well, you can fit it onto Duke. It doesn't look too bad on Duke, so it does fit some of the other Joe characters if you want to do that. He's fairly light on accessories. He comes with a removable pistol in a pistol holster, which is separate in the box. You have to take it out of the packaging to put it into his holster. He does hold it quite well if I just get it into his trigger finger hand. So he does hold the pistol quite well. What's interesting to note is there's a hole on the top of the pistol. I don't know if that's the same on some of the other figures. As far as I know, he's the first one to have that. And it looks like they could be maybe doing special versions or reusing those molds down the line and having blast effects possibly. Same thing with the Gatling Gun. Gatling Gun has holes on the front of it. It's very few of the other figures actually have that. So let's just bring in the tape measure. You can see Roblox stands nearly around 7 inches because he's a big dude and a tall character. And for articulation, he has all the same articulation as pretty much all the classified figures. And because he's a reuse of the actual first version of Roadblock, he reuses a lot of those parts. So his head is on a double ball joint. In the sense you have an extra joint at the base of the neck and base of the head. So he has some good 360 move. He has some movement in the neck as well. Oh, if I just pop off the head, you can see the neck does move. So you can see the neck does move with the head, so you can get some tilt and a bit of up and down on it. He looks down pretty well, looks up pretty good on the hinge. He has butterfly hinges on the shoulders. He has rotation on the bicep. He has double jointed elbows. He has, now this is where some of the figures are interesting. On this figure, he has in and out horizontal hinges on both hands and a swivel. On some of the figures, they have a vertical hinge on their left instead of kind of left hand instead of what you'd imagine on the right hand. I'm not sure if that's just a design thing or it's just the way it happened to be designed. He does have a ab crunch, which is pretty good. He has lower waist articulation, which gives him a twist. He has the splits that can go this much. He's slightly hindered on the side by the holster, but it does move down. It is a separate piece so that it can be moved off the hip. Ideally, if you wanted to, you could probably raise it up on the hip. Because he reuses a lot of the same pant sculpt of the previous one. You have these pockets on the side which do get in the way of a little bit. He has thigh swivel, double jointed knees. He has a boot cut and rocker hinges. Now, as I said, he does reuse a lot of the original Roblox stuff. So they actually sculpted a new knee pad here, which is interesting because on the original figure, you can see where the actual gold knee pad was attached on with a kind of a, looks like a strap. They just, instead of making it look like the same material on the other side, because there's that kind of strap piece, it just looks like it's a plain brown strap over his leg. So if I just get him to stand up there for 2 seconds, I'll bring in the other one so you see what I mean. You see the grey here where the knee pad is strapped onto his leg. They kept that on the figure, but they just kind of sculpted a plain knee pad for him to cover up that detail. Now, he does come with this really sick, awesome Gatling gun. It comes in 2 pieces in the box, so the magazine piece is separate, and the way you just put it together is there's a flat section here and there's a slightly raised piece at the front. So you just slide it in till it stops, and then you can have him holding his Gatling gun. Now, it is a bit tricky to get in, so I'm going to do it off camera. Once you have, the hands are gummy enough that they will fit, but if you need to, you might need to warm them up a bit before you can get them in. So bear with me a moment. Voila. Let's throw his helmet back on him. So there he is, rocking his awesome Gatling gun, and for an added bonus, the barrel of the Gatling gun does rotate. So I'm assuming if you have some sort of, as I said, they have some sort of firing kind of effects, you can put them into it, kind of, if it's a kind of a one where you can start to see the bullets exploding from the gun, you can do that. So that is Roadblock in all his awesome glory. He does have a backpack as well, but he doesn't have a backpack, and there is a back pouch on his web gear as well. So if you have backpacks from other figures, which I don't, I suppose I'm giving the Viper one for the time being, as everyone falls over. So if you have backpacks, Duke is really the only one that has like a Joe backpack, I think. So just line up the pegs. He can hold a backpack reasonably well. I think most figures that have backpacks are the Cobra figures, if memory serves. There is only a few Joes that have backpacks, but some of them have sculpted stuff on their web gear to simulate the backpacks, like Flint, if I remember correctly. Flint and Scarlet have pouches on their backs. Beachhead and I think Beachhead, Gung Ho and Duke are the only ones that have actual backpacks. So moving swiftly along, we go on to the Viper. This is one of the hardest to get figures because, well, he's a Viper and people love Vipers and people like the army build Vipers, so he tends to sell out quite quickly when they got restocked. I managed to get this one from a seller here in Ireland, although it did cost me a pretty penny, but we won't really get into that. So he has removable goggles. They don't really fix onto the helmet, so be careful with this guy. He has all the same articulation as Roadblock, so I won't really go into it again. The only key points is, as I said, if I just move his gun out of his hand, he has a horizontal hinge on his right hand, or sorry, on his left hand instead of the left. The left has vertical. Sorry, horizontal on the right hand and vertical on the left, as opposed to the other way around. Most people tend to have their figures being right-handed and holding the weapon with horizontally on this hand, and then gripping with this, which makes it a bit harder for these figures. They tend to do it the opposite way around. He has a really nicely sculpted body piece. I do not believe it's been reused already, but hopefully this will be the same one that comes with the standard Viper. Hopefully we will be getting a standard Viper. So far they've only done a standard version of the Cobra Trooper, which I have. I don't have any of the Cobra Island one that came with the black gear and the extra weapon. Only have the standard ones. He comes with a removable backpack. There's no opening or storage stuff on this one. It's just a pure backpack, but it looks really nice. It has extra grenade canisters, some ropes, pouches, all the nice stuff you would expect for a Cobra infantry trooper. He comes with a pistol, and he comes with that gun. And again, this gun actually has that little hole on the front of it for the for whatever potential blast effect that they might make down the line, hopefully. Now, what's interesting is this figure isn't all new. So if I to get to how new this guy, oh yeah, before I go onto how new or not new he is, he does have a removable scarf piece. Now, I thought originally this was the same one that came with Zartan, but it isn't. So if I just bring Zartan in quickly, I haven't done a review of this guy, but I will. You see the neckerchiefs or the handkerchief or the whatever you want to call it is actually different. So it just clips in. It isn't a full circle, it is open, so you can slide it in behind the helmet. We can just do it on screen. And it is designed so that it just fits loosely, but it's tight enough that it doesn't really fall off. So it is nice. You can leave it off if you want. It's up to your personal preference. So this figure, as I said, has the same articulation, has double jointed neck, so it has great range of movement on the head. And for the most part, he's actually a reuse of old parts. He is a reuse of the first version of Duke. Let me just get Duke's gun out of his hand. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So if you were to remove his upper armor, I would imagine you will find Duke's waist or torso underneath this, because if you look, he actually has the same shirt piece underneath, whereas it's white on Duke, it's red on the Viper. His arms are identical all the way down to the gloves. The only difference is they added in an extra part. Now, I might be able to do this on screen. I did it before. 2 seconds. So you are sort of able to pop the arms off, and you can see, if I can get it to move, maybe not on this one, maybe it was the other arm that moved. So you can actually take off these wrist gauntlet parts, and they actually did paint the skin underneath. They didn't just leave it completely blank, which is interesting, but you can see it is the same arm as Duke. And as I said, I'm pretty sure it's the same torso. Only difference is the legs are different. It has that ribbing on it and has newly sculpted pieces. Has the boots. It even still has the boot cut and the hinge articulation. So I'm going to pop this back in. What's interesting is he actually still has the wristwatch on the opposite hand as well, just like Duke does. So you have that. But for most part, for all intensive purposes, it is a reuse of the Duke body. So if I just get in the hole there, and he does come with this really cool rifle. It's not a complete version of the original Viper gun. Would have liked something a bit closer, but it is a good homage to it. I'm not sure again if this is a Nerf gun that they modified. A lot of the early stuff was Nerf guns. It has a removable magazine. So you have that, and he can hold it in both hands pretty well. As I said, if you want him to do kind of two-handed poses, you can do it. It's just getting him to hold his gun can be a little bit tricky. His hands are a good bit gummy, so they shouldn't have too much problem. But just get him to hold his gun. You can get him to hold his gun quite nicely in two-handed poses, and put his goggles on, the kind of trademark look of a Viper. For some reason, goggles on a visor, for whatever reason, but they still look pretty badass. That leaves us with the last figure of this wave. Well, not this wave, but the last figure I'm going to review for this review video. I'm going to just move stuff over, and that is Wayne Sneden, aka Beachhead. So he comes with a lot of gear. I think he actually comes with more gear than the rest of them, hands down. As far as I know, his body, this was the first time this torso was used, but it was reused then again for Firefly, as far as I'm aware. I need to go back and dig out my Firefly figure to see if I'm right on that, but I'm almost certain it's a reuse of the Firefly is a reuse of the Beachhead figure. Again, he comes with a pistol that fits nicely into this holster. He does come with a leg holster as well, and he comes with a little green knife, which is quite nice. I did have to heat up my one. The straps on it were quite low down, but I heated them up and just pushed them back up a bit. He still has the boot cut. He still has all the same articulation as all the other figures, so I won't get into that too much. His web gear is a separate piece, but it's not removable. He has extra armor or extra plate here with extra clips for, I'm not sure if they don't look like they're ones for his actual gun, but I'd say they're pistol clips for the actual pistol. He comes with his trademark beret. Now on the original figure, his beret was actually coiled up and folded onto his left shoulder. In subsequent figures, even the 25th anniversary one, they started doing ones where he had the actual beret out. So there is that. His backpack is a direct homage to the original figure. So he actually has a removable crossbow though, which is something the original figure didn't have, but the later 25th anniversary ones did. So he has this really nice backpack. He has what looks like extra crossbow bolts there. He has a scope for his crossbow. He has a big, I think it's a grapple launcher sort of thing. I think this splits open to make a grapple. And you have coils of rope here, and then you have extra pouches, and it's quite nicely done. The only downside of this is it's very loose. So if I turn the figure over, shake him a bit, it just falls straight out. If I use stuff like the Viper one, it just falls straight out. I think it's the peg hole on my figure. It could be just something to my figure, and it might be on everyone else's figures, but it's just something to be wary of. Again, all the same articulation, and he also has the glove or the horizontal hinge on this, on the left hand as opposed to the right hand. But he's pretty sweet. Now there is something about eye color on the beachhead figures. Apparently there's like a blue eye color, blue eyes version or tan eyes version. I think mine is tan eyes or whatever way you want to call it. He doesn't have the blue eyes, and then he has this pretty nice gun. Now it doesn't look anything like his original gun. It is quite a Nerf design gun, so I'm pretty sure it is based on a Nerf gun. It's not too bad. I know people out there have 3D printed his own original rifle, so you probably get those off eBay or someplace like that, or depending on how much you want to spend on it, or if you have files, print your own one. But he does look pretty sweet, all geared up. So there is a notch on the back of his backpack so that it goes in, the crossbow goes into that. You can have him completely geared up with all his gear. Just put his gun into his hand. Just get your trigger finger into the actual trigger, and again you can hold it two-handed, so you can look pretty badass as well as the other figures. Now for parts wise, I don't think he's a reuse of too many parts. I think he was pretty much all new parts for the time, and then they reused them for, as I said, for for Firefly. And his Beret has just gone flying off, so I'll just have to make do without it. But he is quite posable and quite nicely sculpted. So just get some size comparisons going. I'll bring Duke back in, and I'll bring some Cobras in as well, just to compare them to the Viper. Hopefully not everyone is going off screen. And just because I have him handy, bring in old John Walker US agent, so you can see him next to a Marvel Legends figure. Bring in Destro if he will stand. I think his feet are not quite flat or flush for standing. So bring in Destro for the Viper to stand next to. I do have someone else. Where did I put Zartan? Zartan is over here. Just bring in Zartan. Put him in here. So you can see how they scale up quite nicely, and they are really good figures. Unfortunately, because of the exclusivity of them, they're hard to get on certain fronts. I know they did a restock of the Vipers. Hopefully they'll do another restock of Vipers and Beachhead for Target, but at the moment I'm not sure if they've sold out again. It's just worth checking. And Beachhead knocks over Duke. But there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this quick video review. I hope I didn't waffle on too much, and if you can get these at a reasonable price, I do recommend picking them up. I said Beachhead is one of my favorite of the bunch. The Roadblock, as I said, if he had been that version from the get-go, he probably would have sold out numerous times and be super hard to get, and the other ones would be just pegworming. And as for the Viper, well, it's army builder and always going to be a good seller. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video review, and as I say in my videos, please feel free to like, comment and subscribe to my channel. Cheers.